Hello, everyone. My name is Tooways Akmal.
Hi.
Welcome to another hi. Welcome to another episode of Two Ways to Skin a Cat, a show where we talk career experiences, entrepreneurship, and investments. The main aim is to show that there's more than one way to be successful other than climbing the corporate ladder. We are live on LinkedIn and YouTube, and a reminder that the show will be on podcast tomorrow morning. If you're watching live, please drop a 1 in the comments so that we know we're not talking to ourselves. And if you're watching the recording, please drop a 2 in the comments. My guest for this week is Thembi Tabata, the Chief Financial Officer at the TVET College. He's also an MBA candidate and a CIMA candidate. Thembi, thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thembi is unfortunately experiencing load shedding right now, so we are hoping to keep her connection, but let's see how it goes. Apologies if anything goes wrong. Thembi, to jump straight into questions, tell us your story. Where have you come from outside of work? Who is Thembi Tabata?
Sure. Where I come from, I think I come from, before I stayed in Gauteng, I was in East London. So I come from there. I did articles there at the AG. Before that, I did a short stint at a small firm. But then I left, went back to school and joined AG, got my article signed off there. Left after a year, then came to Joburg to become an accountant. And I grew up in those ranks, dabbling in private sector, changing to public sector and private sector. And I've tried opening my own business. I did that up until I think I moved to join this college now, just before lockdown. So I was doing my own business before that. Yeah.
Okay, great. So I had a look at your LinkedIn profile and I see AGA, SA, CIMA, MBA. That's a lot of titles. Talk to us about the benefits of each one and the benefits of the three combined.
Okay. I started the CIMA route in 2015, and I kept on getting exempted, and then I would do a course, but I don't think it was easy for me because in South Africa I struggled to get guidance. Eventually, I went to CIMA in Melrose Arch, and they said they'll see what they can do with regards to my accreditation because I've got a degree and 2 postgrads, and I had the full articles up until senior management experience. So they said they'll see with what they can do with regards to getting me on the CIMA route. And then out of the blue, one day they just called me saying, "Hey, you've been exempted. You can prepare for your board." I'm like, "What?" So so I did that. It's quite expensive, first of all, because you pay in pounds, but it's very interesting. I think moving from the SAICA route to the CIMA route, I've learned a lot. It was very different, but yeah, I think it was fun.
Okay, and MBA, how did that fit in?
MBA I did 2018. Then that was when I was self-employed. I did 2018 a year. It's an 18-month, and then I stopped due to finances. So then I went back when I recovered. When I recovered financially, then I went back. But by that time, CIMA had gotten back to me saying, "You are pretty much exempted for the board." So I'm waiting for my results to come back on the 15th of April.
Okay, great. We're almost there.
Yeah.
1 more month. So good luck with that.
Yeah, 1 more month. I was laughing because on the way here, on the way to preparing for your interview, they sent me an email telling me about revision classes, but they haven't sent my results.
and tell me, so this AGA essay specifically, have you found it to be a valuable qualification? Because I only found out about the qualification probably like 2 years ago. So has it been of value to you?
I think they introduced it when I was just after I got signed off for articles. And then for a while I wasn't convinced. And then eventually I was like, okay, let me sign up. I think Saika might be watching, but I think it is valuable in terms of it makes you more credible than if you don't have it. If you're not a CA, I think it is quite credible. Yeah, and I'm not a fan of audit. So if you're not a fan of audit, then by all means, get it.
Okay, no, that's great. And are you still doing your MBA currently?
I'm going back second semester.
Okay.
Our financial year end is December, so I couldn't really think of board and yeah. I just wanted to get CIMA out the way first. Yeah.
So a lot of people talk to me about MBA saying that the most important thing is the networking opportunities, and that's one of the main positives. So how do you plan to navigate that without, like, during COVID, when is there still networking opportunities?
I think there are. I honestly think there are. I've made so many networks during lockdown than I've ever had before. I mean, these days people don't really need to meet. Everything is virtual. So there are networking opportunities. And I mean, the people that I was in class with that have since graduated when I took the gap, I'm still in contact with them. They are doing wonderful things in the industry, and I mean that is great for them, you know. So I think networking opportunities are still there. Like I say, I've met wonderful people that I probably wouldn't have met if we didn't have lockdown. So yeah, I mean.
Okay. A reminder to everyone that we'll be responding to questions towards the end. So please add your questions to the comment section so that we don't miss them. And you just mentioned that you did a lot of networking during lockdown. So tell us about how you did that. What was your main tool for networking?
One of the things that happened is, by luck, someone added me to my alumni group from undergrad, and then I went to Forte actually, and then once I was there, I noticed people like Wiseman Gutlu. I'm not supposed to be telling this, but those guys are doing wonderful stuff, talking to people that they regard as young. So Wiseman Kuhlu, Sizwe Nxasana, all of those people that will be there. I'll show you on the 22nd actually some pictures. We're going to an event. So,
it's amazing.
So it's been it's been wonderful. I think they're trying to see who's from that institution, what are they doing now, what is the younger generation doing, and they sort of throwing the rope back, I guess. So that's one of the networking opportunities that I've had that I still find very exciting and very highly unlikely to happen.
And I fully agree with you. I probably also did a lot more networking during lockdown. I set up virtual coffees, virtual chats with people. I use LinkedIn to reach out to people and chat, and that's built my network. So there's no excuse for no networking. If whoever's out there, they need to make an effort, and you'll find people to talk to.
I also think I bonded a lot with LinkedIn actually. I've always been on LinkedIn, but it wasn't an app that I sort of used a lot. And then I left all the other play social media apps, and I just stayed on LinkedIn. And I mean, after a while, it starts actually becoming fun.
No, fully agree. Let's talk TVET College specifically. So for the young professional out there, what are the benefits and the drawbacks of working for an organization like this, especially finance professionals?
I think TVET colleges are in need of like proper skill. You find that if you are there as CFO, your team needs to be capacitated. So there is an opportunity for growth in that you groom someone else and then you create a team of, people are really willing to learn and willing to do the stuff, but they need the opportunities, they need the leadership that is believing in them. So if you want to grow in terms of leadership, it's something that, you can do. I think it's a low-lying fruit really for a person who's sort of looking to grow as a leader in terms of that. The drawbacks is because of the lack of skill, there's a lot of work to do. There's a lot of work to do. You work at a TVET. That's why I was saying earlier in the backstage that they really need young blood, especially at CFO posts. They can't be running on old people because there's a lot of work to do, and especially because ours is quite big. So there's a lot of activity. There's a lot of public interest. Now with the protests going on, you can imagine it affects us directly. There's a lot of skill, but also I think we are lucky in the TVET space in that the minister is directly interested in what is going on. So he's hands-on. So you're not very far from, being known by the minister and, So I think a lot of people that started there have grown, well, in the industry being the post-school education sector. People have grown. People have done great things. It's easy to build your name. That's for one. And yeah, I think you've got a good audience. If the minister's watching you.
So growing as a leader, I think that's great advice. I didn't know about that. So thanks for that. Talk to us a little bit about your experience at the Auditor General. So for those in varsity right now, would you recommend that they consider joining the Auditor General?
I learned a lot. I think if it's the kind of articles that will give you a sense of purpose, because there's no profit making, there's just making sure that the taxpayers' money is spent the right way. So that's the kind of experience you'll get there. There is diversity in terms of experience. I mean, you can look at your SOEs, you can look at your oil, your petro SA, and so on. So there is diversity definitely in terms of experience. You just have to choose where you go. You have to be fussy about which clients you take on. And they always said to us, you must fight for exposure. So don't be the kind of trainee that is told, this is the project we want you on. Sort of be proactive about your own development and about your own growth, and ask, can I go here? Can I go there? Can I do this? Can I do that? And don't worry about, like, for instance, they can even second you into other provinces. So if, for instance, I don't know, Western Cape has got the oil, the petrol SA, whatever, then you can ask to go there and ask to be moved around and all of that. They're usually very flexible, unless, of course, your business unit feels that they'll be losing out if they let you go. then it could be very tricky. But I think in terms of experience, I don't see the reason why people can't grow. And of course, just like everything in life, it depends on you as a person as well. Because I mean, you can spoil a perfectly good opportunity in the best firms, or you can make a perfectly good opportunity out of the smallest firm. But of course, AG is the biggest there is, I think, especially in terms of public sector. So you're not bound to like municipalities and departments.
That's and also in general, I mean, you raised the good thing there is ask for what you want. You can't wait and expect people to give you what you want. Like people, managers are busy. They've got their own. Everybody's worrying about their own. Yeah, they don't have time to think about what does Thembi think she's like. She must. She's not telling me. I assume that she's happy with what she's doing. So if you're not happy, you must speak.
I think what helped me in articles, I was telling someone yesterday, is that I started working at 16. So I grew up, started working at Spa, all of that. So I knew what corporate is sort of like. And I knew how to talk at work and how to express myself and how to say, listen, this is what I would like. This is like what I would like to do. And I sort of had, at that time, I had sort of branded myself, which I think a lot of trainees don't do. Because I branded myself as the kind of person you go to when you need help in your audit, or you don't have a budget, or you've run out of time, whatever. And then I would help people out like that. So it always got me the best exposure. And it always got me, as a result, I think that's what a lot of people I felt were missing.
You had that experience. You were lucky. I started auditing when I was 21. I was the youngest in my group. And so I was the opposite. I had the least experience. Yeah, we made it through.
I think having work experience, even if it's informal work experience, it's helped me.
Definitely. And I noticed that we started articles around about the same time. And I see that you're a bit of a millennial like me, because I watched all your different changes in jobs. I was like, yes, if she's not happy, she doesn't stick around to suffer. I understand.
No, I think what happened, because I came from AG, I felt I needed more accounting experience. So I spent a lot of time pretty much after articles still fighting for exposure, trying to do the accounting work. And it took one job. I was doing accounting work for a research and development kind of institute. And then when I left, I went to become financial manager. So for me, I felt after FM, I was like, no, I feel I'm comfortable now with all the exposure. Of course, it's a bit of a risk. It's taking bold moves, and admitting that, look, I don't have all of the experience, but I'm willing to learn. And just surrounding yourself with people that are gonna show you the ropes until you get the hang of it. And I don't regret making those calls.
But you had the self-awareness to realize that you needed that accounting exposure. Yes, and it sounds like some people have this impression that if you go to the AG, you can't get out of government work, but you prove that you can move wherever you want to do it.
I've done it. I've done it. I've taken, as much as there is that misconception, but I feel that there's so many businesses that are reliant on government that they are willing to consider people that come from government to show them the ropes on how government works. So it's very possible to move your way into And I mean, I think when I've gotten my results, I'm already getting sort of invites to apply for jobs in the private sector. But I'm waiting for my results, so I don't think there's much of an appetite for a CIMA in government yet. But yeah, but I'm definitely open to diversity. I think now I want a job where I can travel, and preferably out of country to the rest of the continent. Yeah.
I've seen this a couple of my colleagues are traveling around the country and working, but still in the same job, but just working because taking advantage of working remotely. They've always wanted to travel the country, so now they're making the most of that.
I would love to. I think companies that are continental, man. I'm thinking Coca-Cola right now. I would love to, because they've got this post where they just give, and there's this drive for them to search for women. And they've got this post where they just give you VP maybe of a region, or hey, I'm in there.
I've had a look through the comments, and there aren't too many questions. So it looks like you've answered all the questions that they need.
Okay.
Is there anything from any last few words, anything that you want to discuss or you want the audience to know about you or about something that you're passionate about?
I think let me just share about how we're working on. We founded an NGO actually to look at marginalized entrepreneurs. I think I like, the one thing about me is I like working on a job with purpose. I don't want to sit there all my life looking at debits and credits and wondering about accounting policies. I mean, I grew within the profession, but of course, it's time to grow and it's time to look at what you're going to do at 40, 50, and so on. So that's what we did. Add value, exactly. So that's what we did. My battery is going to run out. That's what we did, and I think it excites me a lot. So I think that's what people can look forward to. I mean, I'm working with wonderful people there. There's a CA there. There's a lady who is heading one of the big NGOs in the country. There's a couple of people that, I'm working with people that are disabled, that are visually impaired, that can't see. And I'm learning so much because I don't think I've ever been in a position where I sit with people that can't see. So I don't know. Like one lady will tell you that, no, you misspelled my name. That's not how you spell it. So I'm like, yeah. So that's what I'm working on. We're working on looking at entrepreneurs from marginalized communities. So the disabled, what they call previously disadvantaged, all of that, making sure that the economy is inclusive, because we don't want a repetition of what we had. Remember when lockdown started and they said, if you sell veg on the street, you can't trade anymore. We're trying to address those kind of things so that the economy is more inclusive. I mean, I think that the country has got the appetite for it now. So, yeah, that's something that I'm quite passionate about.
No, that's great. And I also think it's for small businesses and the medium businesses that are going to create jobs, because all the big businesses seem to be rationalized.
Exactly.
They're not creating jobs.
And another thing, I mean, the fact that so many businesses fail in years 1 to 3 means that there is a need to look at the very foundation of what makes up small businesses, So we took up that one upon ourselves. There's about 6 of us with various experience, and I think, yeah, watch this space.
And a last question for me. Somebody's listened to your interview and they're thinking, okay, I want to apply at the TVET College to work. Where would they look for jobs? Is it just generally from recruiters, or would they be on the TVET College websites? Where would that be?
Websites. There's also a dpsa.gov website. Yeah, and also because there's a lot of TVETs have been needing help now. CICA has got a CICA CICA program where they send CICA members to go and work on TVETs. So yeah, you can start at CICA. It would be a good place to start.
Okay, no, that's great. Just a reminder to everyone, the show is live on YouTube and will be available on the podcast tomorrow. If you're watching on YouTube or the podcast and you feel that the video has added value, don't forget to like and subscribe so that you get automatically notified when the next episode comes out. We're also still having our weekly discussion on Clubhouse about business and investing in South Africa, and that's every Monday at 5 p.m. Please let me know if you need an invite. Still, unfortunately, only available to iPhone users. I need an invite. As long as you have an iPhone. Do you have an iPhone?
I have an iPhone.
Yes. Then I will send you an invite. That's perfect. Thembi, thank you so much for joining me. I appreciate, especially with load shedding, I appreciate you finding another spot so that we can have this
Effort. I
conversation.
get an A for effort.
Definitely A plus, A plus. And I'll have to send you that invite straight away. Thank you so much. So before your laptop dies, thank you very much for joining us, and thank you everybody else for joining us for another episode of Tooways to Skin a Cat. Goodbye.
Thank you very much.